And welcome back to the Back to Your Best Rehab podcast. Today we've got someone really special who I've been really wanting to interview for quite a while, which is Nicole. And Nicole's story is truly amazing in my eyes and in the coach's eyes, and I think everybody in the program's eyes. And so welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
So like we usually do, tell us a bit about yourself, your background, give us a bit of a picture of yourself, Nicole.
So I'm in my early 50s, and previous to injury, I was starting to work on our property that's about 3 hours from here, and spending a lot of time with grandkids. I've got 3 little grandkids, so was doing like a trek up the coast at least once a week to spend time with them and help out with new babies and things like that. So at the
All
moment, far from home.
yeah, all the fun stuff, the fun time with
Yeah.
the grandkids. And Nicole, obviously, we've got a really great story in regards to your recovery, but can you tell everyone kind of how everything started, what the injury was, when you and I started working together?
So we started together December, I think.
Yep.
Um, and this particular injury happened almost 12 months. I've got another couple of weeks and it'll be 12 months ago. I literally slipped in mud and managed to do a tri-fracture on my ankle and some pretty intense soft tissue damage. But I mean, before that, I was only just out of recovering from a previous injury 2 years before that left me with CRPS in the other ankle. So I was just starting to get back to living life normally and managed to do this one. So, um, it, it was a bit of a shock. And living out west on property in the rain, we were actually camping on our property at the time. So waiting to start building, pretty unsafe area for me to be at that particular time. So we came up here to Brisbane and stayed with my mother and sister-in-law first bit while I waited for surgery and then post-surgery, and then got lucky enough to come and stay in my sister and brother-in-law's granny flat while I recover. And she happens to be one of your patients. So
Right.
that's how we linked up, in that her chatting to you about me, and your response to her let me know straight away that you were someone that understood what I was going through, and the challenge that I had ahead. So yeah, that's the short and tall of it, I guess.
Absolutely. And just for context for anyone listening, the injury was a trimalleolar fracture, which is effectively breaking every bone in your ankle, and having an unstable fracture down there. So it's quite a significant, in fact, it's a very significant kind of injury. And so, Nicole, when we started working together, you came into the clinic in a wheelchair.
I did. Yeah, and then I broke my arm.
I forgot about
Right
that. That was in there as
before.
well, yeah.
Yeah, because I was seeing you for, once a week appointments until I plucked up the courage to join the Back to Your Best. And then, the week I signed up for that, I managed to fall and also fracture my arm. So it was a pretty pitiful sight the first week I rolled into the clinic.
Yeah, a wheelchair and a broken arm.
Yeah,
3
I
out of
will
4
never
limbs
forget that
taken
moment.
out. And so remind me, how long were you in the wheelchair for?
Full time for 5 months.
Mm,
And then I progressed to the hopper frame, then to the wheelie walker, then to a walking stick, and now on my own.
that's right, all by
Yeah,
yourself, and
so,
skipping and hopping and jumping and everything,
well, doing my best.
bit by bit. Um, okay, so we obviously started from quite a low point. We had 2 feet, 2 legs effectively that weren't working so well, and a broken arm at that point. Um, where were you at mentally in those kind of early stages? How did you feel about, the future of your, the outlook, I guess, of your health and your body and your recovery on the injury?
I was feeling pretty broken, actually. I remember sitting in your office the week before I'd signed up to the Back to Your Best program and crying and saying, like, "I need help." And by the time I left that appointment, I came out feeling like there might be a light. There was something I could grab onto and, you know, and work with. I know when I got wheeled into the 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 gym the first time, it was pretty confronting. Like, yeah, I was pretty broken, inside and out. But I mean, immediately, like, it was such a welcoming environment. And Amelia is such a treasure. Like,
Yeah, she's amazing.
she truly has been an epic part of my journey. She's been through every training session. She's helped me adapt where I needed to. She's encouraged me. Um, yeah, so she was actually a godsend in the whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I remember being wheeled in there that first time and feeling well out of my comfort zone. And immediately just picked up a rapport with her, and she's like, "We got this."
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
and we did.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And then where were we starting rehab-wise early in those days? Do you recall some of the earlier exercises we were doing?
I do remember the very first thing I had to do was get on the exercise bike.
Yeah.
And I was filled with fear, in every way of doing anything. I was so scared of hurting myself. Um, but in that, it was like the challenge of, okay, how am I going to do this? Um, I'm pretty stubborn, so it pushed me forward. But everything was very gentle to begin with.
Yeah.
There was, like the backwards and forwards, the toe, getting activated with the band. What else was I doing to begin with? And then we started working on upper body as well, because
Yeah.
it's that holistic approach that you have
Mm.
of, it's not just my ankle that I had to work on. It's everything from the head right through. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
A big part of it, especially in those early days for, like where you started, where you're starting from quite a high level of disability, is working on all the stuff that does work.
yeah,
Finding the other areas, the upper body stuff or whatever we can that is working just fine, and then pushing hard on that to build that strength and that resilience there, which then helps inadvertently mentally to feel a bit more capable with the actual stuff around the injury as well.
I
And
think,
then,
sorry to butt in on you. I think
Mm,
one of the things that I've really enjoyed and has really helped me through this recovery, as opposed to my last one, is you've helped me understand the psychology of healing
mm,
and the psychology of pain. And there's been times, like with our weekly appointments, that have really helped me to push through barriers, just by understanding what's actually happening on a psychological basis as well. It's not just the
absolutely.
physical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a close interlink because you have to do the physical thing. You have to start to challenge the body and challenge those painful tissues. Because as you do that and you get better with it, it helps on the psychological side of things. And then as the psych side of things, the mental side of things improves, the physical becomes a little bit easier to do in the sense that you're a bit more confident to push the boundaries a little bit more.
Yeah.
But what I was actually going to ask, just as you brought that up, was what do you think some of those earlier lessons might have been for you? Where, like mentally, did you believe when you were saying the wheelchair early on that there was a light at the end of the tunnel for you? Did you have that kind of ingrained in you, or was it something that just as you started to get into things, you started to kind of realize there actually is an end
Um,
point to all this?
I think at the beginning, there was a couple of things. I think I was trying to fake it until I make it.
Yeah.
And I I wanted to believe. I
Hmm.
didn't know if I had it in me, if
I
I'd be
like
really
that.
honest. Yeah. So it was, yeah, I'm just gonna keep going and keep going. Um, because I didn't have any other option,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a common theme when I chat to people about this as well. Is I like to understand. to some extent, you have to believe that your body can adapt and you can get better. Because if you didn't, you just would never engage in anything
Yeah.
like this. You'd never engage in exercise or rehab. You would just completely stay away from it and just accept it and let that be. So I think at some degree, people have to have, even if it's just a little bit of hope, and that little bit of hope that they lean on and ultimately have to act on, then opens up over time. As in, you become more hopeful, you become more confident in that process there. But to begin with, you have to have some level of it.
I mean, the big difference with this injury to the last one was that even when I think about that one, it was a very on my own experience. Like I ended up with the condition I did because of the lack of treatment that I got and lack of support that I got. And I always said I felt like I was on a rock in the middle of the ocean
Yeah.
throughout that experience, where like you guys it was like someone had thrown me a life buoy, and then it's like you've been given the float,
Yeah.
now you have to swim.
Yep.
So yeah, that's probably the big difference. Um, and having the community in there as well, not just you and Amelia, but you build a real rapport with
Mm.
the rest of the crew that's in there that, essentially have all come in broken in some way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a bit like school camp
Yeah.
where all of a sudden you're thrown together and,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so and everyone in there is really encouraging. So that makes a real, like they cheer you on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
everyone's got their own journey. The nice thing I think about is everyone's got their own unique injury or reason for being in the program. And so there's, you can't compete. There's no like competition or egos in that kind of environment because you're all doing your own thing. Um, and what that forces you to do is listen to other people's stories and experience and see other people progress just like they see you progress.
Yeah,
And it
it's quite
becomes quite
inspiring.
a, wholesome kind of thing that you feel like you're part of someone else's journey and vice versa,
Yeah.
which helps encourage and keeps the momentum going with it all. So coming back to your rehab process, so we started in the wheelchair. We did some very basic activation mobility drills. And then we start to get out of the wheelchair. You start to go into the frame and get a bit of like you're able to weight bear a little bit.
Yep.
What happens then? So what's that kind of mental process for you once you start to be able to weight bear and feel there's a bit of a tangible return to normal activities at that point?
Um, I think I was still really scared at that
Mm,
point. But the thing that I had kept going was what you taught me right at the very beginning is to celebrate the 1%.
mm,
So, and each of those 1% builds on each other. Um, so that's where I put my focus. It
yeah,
was, yeah, I couldn't think long term at that point. It was literally day by day. And yeah, and then the 1% started to build. It was
yeah,
like all of a sudden I could do things. I mean, Amelia's talked me through and encouraged me through. I've had to face a lot of fear. I was very unstable. So even as I started to get up, but I found the gym a really great place to try out different things.
yeah,
It was one of the first places I think it was actually the first place that I walked with nothing.
yep,
Yeah. So, and it was a secure environment that I could challenge myself without stressing my husband out because he wasn't there to witness it either.
yeah,
And yeah, it slowly just built on itself. And then as like I did the same program for quite a while,
yep,
and then you started to challenge me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which was really good. Yeah.
Yep. It has to, yeah. As soon as you get a little bit too comfortable, that's where we have to up the ante a little bit. But there is a big thing for people who go from, being non-weight bearing for quite a while, whether that's, you know, from being in a wheelchair or in a boot or something like that. There's this transition period that is quite challenging. There's a lot of fear
Mm,
about getting back to walking and getting back to balance and just being on your feet as well. And the thing I sometimes say to the coaches is like our gym space is the best place for people to fail. And what I actually mean by that is, if we're going to push those boundaries a little bit, we do it in our clinic with our coaches in a very safe environment, because if we do fail, if we're not quite ready for it just yet, it's a perfectly safe environment. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we have to push those boundaries. And so you've been through a few stages where you've had to kind of mentally pump yourself up a little bit, rely on Amelia and possibly Ange a little bit. What goes through your head when you start to address those exercises or those movements that you're quite fearful of?
I think my number one fear is fear of falling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been a few occasions. I know, like the first time I had to do the leaning back on the rings.
Yep.
But Amelia was right there with me,
Yep.
and it was like start rather than I've always been someone that probably goes a bit too hard to begin with, and this journey has prevented me from being that. It's something I've had to learn to
Yep.
work up. So, yeah, just talking myself through, like, and we call it the rehab mantra is I can do hard things.
Yep.
So it's that, you know, talk through, address it, actually voicing the fear rather than
Yes.
trying to run from it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like, did that. There's the high five and the happy dance.
Yeah, that's right. The gold star and the ring
Yeah,
the rehab bell.
ring the bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there a lot of self-talk that
Yep.
goes into and breathing.
Yes. You find that helps a lot?
Yeah, yeah,
Just calm yourself down a little bit and
and
lean
go
into it?
slowly, like,
Yep.
not rush into something. Actually, I've become I've always been very good at risk assessment for everybody else around me that I love and care about,
Yep.
maybe not so good for myself.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
so it's something that I have really worked on in
Yeah.
that, yeah, patience
Yeah.
and being gentle with myself. I mean, there was a couple of times where, like, I'd walked for 2 weeks with no assistance and then came into you with the wheelie walker
Yep.
because I'd gone too hard, and you reminding me that it wasn't a step backwards, it was just what my body needed at that time. Things like that have been a really big part of the journey too, like not kicking yourself when you're down, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, like, there's been weeks where, I mean, I really feel like my journey has been going up
Mm.
pretty consistently, but every now and then you get a week where it dips back, or you can't do something as well as you could the week before, or
Yes.
and just reminding myself that healing isn't like a linear scale. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
That's such a hard thing for many people, that it isn't linear. It's full of ups and downs. But that's the journey, that's the process.
yeah.
And sometimes you'll push the tissues a bit beyond what they were ready for or what they were capable for, and they'll let you know and you'll dial back a little bit and then cool things off. And then you build back up and then you can often just get through that next threshold.
Which
And
also is great because it's helping me to learn how to listen to what's actually going on.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. And the big thing with all of it is just consistency. I
yep.
think as long as you keep rocking up, it's probably the biggest message I have to people with more chronic pain. It's like, as long as you just keep rocking up and keep getting your reps in and keep, just nudging and pushing the boundaries just a little bit,
Mhm.
the results will come. It's just a matter of consistency and patience and being okay with those ups and downs.
Yeah.
The challenge with the psychology of the ups and downs is when you're down, like that's what you feel in the moment. Even if 10 times better than where you were a few months ago, still in the moment, it's relative. You feel like it's a down point. And that psychology, whether you're right at the bottom or you're at a down point further down the track, still has the same mental impact. Yes, you still
There's
feel
an
the same way.
And I think there's an interesting thing that I've noticed about healing as well is that because you're always focusing on the now and what's to come in the future, sometimes you forget where you've come from.
100%.
And I can think of one time in particular where when I finally, it took me, I think, 8 months to get back to our property.
Mm,
And sitting there and feeling very overwhelmed about the work there ahead and doubting myself on can I physically do what, the goal that we've set out to do there.
yeah.
And my husband sitting back and, just talking. I think a big part is like I said before, voicing what's actually going on. And he reminded me that, 5 weeks before I was only just getting out of the wheelchair. So it's like, oh, yeah, you sometimes forget where you've come from,
100%.
and remembering or being reminded of that is actually a really good, or for me, has been a really good push forward.
100%.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, we've got to give a big shout out to Darren, obviously, as well,
Yeah.
driving you to all the early sessions and hanging out during the session. But how important do you feel like having a supportive partner or a supportive home environment during these times are?
Um, it the most important.
Yeah,
It's, recovery, it can be a really long and lonely journey. So having someone there that you can rely on, like I've been able to, and not just him, like there's a few key people that I've had, my sister and
mm,
brother-in-law. It's probably the most important thing, so that you're not, apart from your own resilience, is, yeah, having someone that you can rely on is, yeah, there's no comparison to not having it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I
Yeah,
think they're also a
big
nice
journey
metric
for
because
them too.
they're the ones who get to observe you physically, like how you're moving and how you're interacting on day-to-day tasks at home. So they're often really in good positions to remind you, hey, only 3 or 4 weeks ago you couldn't get up those stairs without me, or you couldn't do X, Y, or Z, but now you can.
Yeah,
So they and like myself as well, like I get to see those changes from a external set of eyes, obviously. So it's always nice to have someone, especially at home, who can kind of see the difference in 2 or 3 or 5 weeks, whatever it might be, and remind you of that progress.
yeah.
So where are you now? Tell me about what training looks like and rehab looks like at the moment.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can balance on one leg.
Yep.
Um, it's I mean, everything is still a challenge,
Mm.
but I think that that's partly me, and still learning, still, I still have a journey to go in terms of building up strength.
Mm.
But I can do things now that I never imagined myself doing.
Yeah. What are some of those things? What are some of those like pivotal things outside of rehab, outside of the doing calf raises and squats and all that fun stuff? Tell me about some things over the last couple of months that have been nice big wins for you, physical things
Outside of training.
outside of training. Yeah.
I might get emotional over this one. I think the best thing ever was being able to pick up my grandson again, rock him to sleep, walk and carry him through the park, being independent,
Mm.
being able to take myself shopping, or drive down the coast to visit my daughter, or drive up the coast to visit my son. Yeah, having my own sense of independence again, and I mean, back in the garden, lifting things, carrying things, walking on uneven ground,
Yeah.
walking up and down stairs. But I think the number one thing, the key moment for me was the day I got to pick my grandson up again,
Yeah.
and hold him, because I'd literally spent half of his life not able to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big one.
Absolutely. And I imagine through his little eyes as well, seeing you, you know, as someone in the wheelchair versus now as someone who's capable and active and engaged in his world as well.
Well, he that one probably still a little bit little, but the 3.5-year-old twins, they've really observed the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, from, because there was a number of months where it just wasn't safe for me to even be around them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been on the journey with me. It's been
Yeah.
quite cool, and then they still ask to see my owie when we're on video chats.
So
Uh,
really, yeah. Nice.
check in, make sure Mimi's okay.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Um, Yeah, it's been such an amazing journey. Amelia and Ange and the ladies that are set, like we all reflect on it actually semi regularly. How far you've come in the last 6, 7 months, or whatever it's been now, a bit longer, I guess, 7 or 8 months maybe. Um, what what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe dealing with also some kind of big chronic issue that's really impacting their life? What's something you've learned along the journey so far?
Get really comfortable with yourself, because you're going to spend a lot of time with yourself. Be gentle with yourself and find a community that can help you. I can't express enough how much having you guys as my base and to work with has enabled. I don't know where I would be on this journey right now had I not found you guys. I don't like to think about where I might be still. But yeah, be gentle with yourself and celebrate the wins. Every tiny little win. It doesn't matter whether it's standing in the shower for the first time or getting yourself dressed for the first time. Like, everything is a win. Yeah. And be proud of the wins. Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. They need to
Allow
be
yourself to
celebrated.
celebrate them. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole. I really appreciate your time. And we
No,
can't
really.
wait to see the
You.
next few months and your progress.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Back to Your Best Rehab podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. It really helps us reach more people who need support on their rehab journey. And if you want to learn more about the Back to Your Best Rehab Program, head to www.backtoyourbestrehab.com.au. That is www.back2yourbestrehab.com.au for more info. We'll catch you on the next episode.